when we were walking through the jungles, we had no food.
This was coming from Burma because there was some kind
during
of unrest.
the Japanese invasion.
Japanese invasion in Burma, so there was a lot of
1942.
unrest, so you all had to move from there.
Yes. I remember the elephants too. I was put on a baby elephant and we used to travel by elephant, stop at one place and stay there and again sit on the elephants and walk. As soon as we reached Assam, हमको hospital में डाल दिया because we all children suffered from a disease called beriberi. Basically, Arbaaz, I'm a shy person. Having to dress up the way I used to dress up, I couldn't show my skin. I would feel very embarrassed. So what I would do, I'd get stockings, you know, the ladies' stocking, and I would stitch them on to my, supposing I'm wearing a bikini, I'll stitch it on to my bikini and my top. The whole stocking would be there, stitched. Then I would feel that I'm covered. Knowing your father, everybody knows him. He's a very generous, just, fair, and very compassionate person. First of all, I must tell you that I never ever wanted a separation from the family. I would never have stayed on. I couldn't take that. And but of course, a lot of credit goes to mom. She must have gone through a lot at that time. I'm 100% sure of it.
मेरी आज की इन्विंसिबल है द बिगेस्ट एंड द मोस्ट सक्सेसफुल डांस परफॉर्मर ऑफ ऑल टाइम. इन्होंने कुछ 700 के ऊपर फिल्में की हैं. फिल्म अधूरी होती थी इनके डांस परफॉर्मेंस के बगैर. शी डांस्ड अवे इनटू द हार्ट्स ऑफ द ऑडियंस. सो प्लीज वेलकम द इनक्रेडिबल dancing queen Helen. So Helen auntie, welcome to our show The Invincibles. आपका इंडस्ट्री पे इतना इम्पैक्ट रहा है कि अगर हम डांस के बारे में बात करते हैं तो आपका नाम हेलन जी का नाम आता ही है. हेलन जी के बारे में बात करते हैं तो डांस का नाम आता ही है. Now you have left such an indelible mark in this industry. एक दौर ऐसा था जब आपकी कोई फिल्म बनती थी और प्रोड्यूसर देखता था कहीं आपका गाना नहीं दिखा उसके अंदर तो बोलता था यार इसमें हेलन जी का गाना कहाँ है. तो did you realize that you would make such a huge impact in the industry and you would be such a big star?
Arbaaz, to tell you the truth, मुझे कभी ख्याल में नहीं आया कि मैं जैसा आपने कहा फेम और नेम हो गया. But I think the credit, I'm a person of destiny. I believe in destiny and the Father Almighty is the destiny given to us. So I think it is because of that to a certain extent, and then coming back to this wonderful world, my mother was instrumental in getting me into, and I mustn't forget Kukuji.
All this happened, but prior to this, you had a slightly, a very humble beginning. You came from Burma, and there was all the difficulties you faced in your childhood with your family. So what was it like that time? What was that struggle? How did you move from Burma? Why did you come to India? And then when all this happened, how did it, can you tell us a little more about that?
All this credit goes to my mother because I was only 4 years old.
Okay.
So for a child, this must have been an adventure for me.
Okay.
I don't remember much, but little incidents here and there I do remember. Like when we were walking through the jungles, we had no food.
This was coming from Burma because there was some kind
during
of unrest.
During the Japanese invasion.
Japanese invasion in Burma, so there was a lot of unrest, so you all had to move from there.
Yes, we had to trek it, we walked
it. So how many people in the family did they migrate?
My mother told me there were about 350 people.
And in your family, how many people were there? Like your mother?
My mother,
right.
My little brother, myself. We were both little and my mother was pregnant too.
Oh, okay.
And she lost my little sister there.
Oh God, so sorry.
So, and I go back a little, where we went to the airport, Burma airport, to catch the last flight.
Okay.
But the Japanese came and bombed that aircraft.
Oh God.
And because of that, I remember one scene, one incident where my mother, when the bombing had come over the airport, she just put herself on us two children.
Oh.
I remember that very vividly.
Wow.
फिर उसके बाद क्या हुआ मुझे मालूम नहीं, but my mother said we got together and we started walking out of Burma.
With the purpose of coming to India. That was the plan, or it was like just like get out of here and.
I don't know.
Got it.
Must have been
Must
that.
have been with that.
Yeah.
And with no hope of the future. Just let's get out
No,
of here and
no.
see what happens. So when you all did come here, how long did it take? I believe the trek was almost like
9 months, I believe.
9
That's
months.
what
So
my
in
mother
between, where did you all find shelter? Where did you all stay?
We were
How
staying
did
in
you all
jungles. We found little huts.
and people
I
who helped you?
remember
Any
certain-
people helped you that time? Food, all those things.
You know something? The Japanese were the invaders, and there was a Japanese battalion in the jungles. And there was a Japanese officer. Naturally, we were refugees, so they didn't want to harm us.
Right.
तो उन्होंने क्या किया? उन्होंने खाना वाना लाते थे हम लोग के लिए. We were traveling, and I remember the elephants too. I was put on a baby elephant, and we used to travel by elephant, stop at one place, and stay there, and again sit on the elephants and walk. And
So where was the first destination you came when you came from?
in India was Assam.
Assam. And how long did you stay there in Assam, and what did
In
you all do?
Assam, sorry to interrupt you. As soon as we reached Assam, हमको hospital में डाल दिया, because we all children suffered from a disease called beriberi.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the stomach used to come out.
Okay.
It was full of worms.
Okay. Okay.
So I remember when I was in the hospital, a whole bunch of worms came out, and I screamed. I remember that too. Snake, snake, snake. But they were really those big, long worms, or whatever you call them.
Yeah. Did you, at that stage, while you were dancing and getting the popularity that you had, becoming a choreographer yourself, did ever that thought cross your mind, or do you wanted to try and make a transition from being a like a dance person dancing in films to becoming an actor?
I never had ambition. I would take things as they come. Now, I have worked as heroine. I did films in these mythologies. उस ज़माने में mythologies बहुत थे. तो Mahipal ji. Then we had this Arabian fantasies as they were known. Then Dara Singh. And और एक picture अजीत साहब जिसमें मैं heroine थी. Ajit Saab was the hero. And the villain was Mr. Salim Khan.
Ah, there you go. So, who was your favorite dancing co-star? I would like to say of all time. Let's say among so many people that you've danced with, who did you enjoy your dancing the most with?
See, I worked with Dev Saab for quite 3 or 4 films.
Right.
And thorough gentleman, God bless his soul. It was a pleasure working with him. He had his own style, as everybody knows.
Right.
And it was nice being with him because I worked 3 or 4 films with him. Uske baad, Mr. Shammi Kapoor.
Right. That
he
combination.
Had his own style.
Style.
And we would coordinate with each other
And
very well.
even though you were so good, I think he would try his best to match
He
up
had
with-
his style, Arbaaz.
Yeah,
He used to think of Elvis Presley.
That's right.
I think he used to follow Elvis Presley.
pretty
quite a lot.
obvious. The way he dances, when you see Elvis's songs and videos, you could tell that the inspiration came from there. So one remarkable thing in your career was that you created this brand Helen. Now, whether it was male, female, children, family, they all enjoyed watching your songs and your performances. Your performances could be probably classified as sensuous, maybe a little sexy, but never vulgar. So that line that you never crossed, were you aware of it? And how did you be very conscious? And how did you do that? And how did you achieve that?
Basically, Arbaaz, I'm a shy person. And having to dress up the way I used to dress up, I couldn't show my skin. I would feel very embarrassed. So what I would do, I'd get stockings, you know, the ladies' stockings.
Right.
And I would stitch them onto my, supposing I'm wearing a bikini.
Right.
I'll stitch it onto my bikini and my top. The whole stocking would be there, stitched. Then I would feel that I'm covered. So I'm not showing my skin.
Right.
I'm showing the dress that people used to think because stockings can sort of fit onto your body.
Right.
So it didn't look as though I was wearing anything, but I knew. So that made me feel comfortable.
Comfortable, but that also didn't make you look vulgar, strangely. You know, I mean, to say, like,
Yeah.
there's a big distinction between, you know, when you look at somebody's performances that is slightly vulgar in terms of his movements or in terms of his dressing or in terms of its styling. But none of that happened with you. When people, like I said, watched your songs, it didn't matter. Nobody would shut their children's eyes and say, don't watch Helen dancing. It was never the case. In fact, kids used to get inspired by your dances and learn to dance from them. So that, I'm quite sure you were quite conscious of that, about how to keep that decorum in terms of your dancing personality or whatever.
You see, it was the Western style of dancing. I used to watch a lot of Western films. And in those days, my time, there were a lot of dancing films, musicals,
Right.
in which there were a lot of dances.
Yeah, Fred
And the
Astaire, Grace Kelly. all that.
Sid Cherries,
Yeah,
Mazingawa Champion,
yeah.
and Ginger Rogers, and
Right.
Gene Kelly.
Right.
And all these dancing stars were there, and I would love to go and see it. Because of that, I must have incorporated the style without even imagining that I'm taking it in. I would look at them and, I would try and imitate them maybe.
Any one particular song which was like you felt in your career that was like really difficult, but you were very proud to achieve that, whatever those movements or the...
I would not I would feel nervous when I danced with Vijayanti Mala.
Oh, really? How did you
She's
classify her?
She's my heroine, the best dancer that India ever produced.
Seriously?
Oh, yes.
You think so? Amongst all the other
Always.
actresses, you rate
I
her
love
as the
her
best?
now and I loved her then.
You think you would rate her the best dancer of all time?
Of course,
Really?
definitely.
Coming from you, that's a huge compliment to anybody for that matter.
No, I'm nothing in comparison to her. I should
you're
be
being very
touching her
humble.
feet.
Wow.
She's
Who
fabulous.
else you thought was equally good or good amongst the actresses who would...
There was Kamala Lakshman again.
Okay.
Kamala Lakshman was a Bharatanatyam dancer. Very good. Padmini Ji, the Travancore sisters.
Right.
They were very good. And of course now, a little while ago, was Madhuri Dixit.
Right. Actually, I was going to
Sridevi.
come to that question, that amongst the new age actresses, after you probably moved out of the scene, who you thought amongst them, from the newer generation or from the new age actors, you thought that they were very, very good dancers or performers?
Madhuri,
One.
Madhuri Dixit, Sridevi,
Yeah.
and I can't remember, but these two,
No, okay.
very
Yeah,
good.
they were very, very good. Whenever a dance used to happen and a choreography used to happen, would you also contribute and add to your steps and say, okay, how about me incorporate this? Oh, I have seen this, I want to do this. And did the choreographers oblige, or did you have the liberty, or you were pretty much like you have to come on the sets and the choreographer has designed his entire movements for you and that's all you have to follow? Or did you have, after a certain stage when you became Helen, that you could make your own changes?
I never improvised on their steps, but I would enhance it.
Okay. And what would you mean by that?
I mean by that, like supposing you have to take a step forward with a stance, as said, like this. I would take it and I would do it twice this way. Just a little change here and there.
Yeah. Okay. Which more often than not they would like and agree with because it looked good. Yeah. In 70s, apparently you went through a bit of a financial crisis. You had some businesses also. I think you had a boutique at Oberoi's, if I am not mistaken, at Sheraton. And you were also involved in some businesses and all that stuff. But at one point in time, you went through a bit of a financial situation. Was it tough on you? How did it come on to you? Was it tough on you? How did you feel at that point in time after being at the peak of your career, making so much of money? That little setback happened.
See, again, destiny comes in between. Hona tha, ho gaya. I, somehow or the other, as I told you earlier, I started doing shows abroad. That helped me a lot financially.
Right.
Then doing shows in India.
Right.
That too helped me a lot. I went through some court problems too.
Right.
That took me about 12 years.
To sort, yeah.
I got out of it.
Right.
That's why I never go to court. You go to court, you you have to go every day, and at the end of the time, you settle outside.
Right. So
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
It was settled outside.
Right. So, and around that time, I mean to say, your work must have also suffered. Was it around the same time that you met Rocky, Prince Salim, Mr. Salim Khan, my father? Was it around that time? And if when you did meet him, how did it happen? So, can you tell us first, when was the time that you met Dad, and how did that working relationship turn into an emotional attachment or an emotional relationship?
Knowing your father, everybody knows him. He's a very generous, just, fair, and very compassionate person. In those days, he must have heard of me
Going through your troubles.
going through a lot of court cases and all that. And because of that, he gave me a role in, I don't know, yes, Imandaram.
That's right, yeah.
Imandaram, Dostana, Don. Sholay was
Earlier.
And then we became friends. I used to come over. Mummy was very nice. And then
And I was 13, 14 and I had come back from Pakistan, I think. And
Yes, and I said,
you gave me, what was the compliment? Please tell the audience, what was the compliment that you gave me that time?
your eyelashes.
Yeah, and you also said, I was a very cute looking boy.
Yeah.
I hope I still am right now.
Of course you are. Now you've gone here. God bless you.
Yeah. So when Dad came into your life, like I said initially, it was a working relationship which built into a emotional attachment relationship. Things must have been tough even for you at that point in time, because
And for Mom.
and for my mom, because Dad was already married, he had kids, but everybody tied through the whole thing. You know, in time, everything kind of fell into place. And you know, today, you're my mother, right? I don't even consider you anything else. So, but it took time. Things take time. The effort, where do you think to get this unity or to get this affection, whose effort or who can get the credit for this? Would you say?
First of all, I must tell you that I never ever wanted a separation from the family. I would never have stayed on. I couldn't take that. And
But
of
then
course, a
wasn't-
lot of credit goes to Mom. She must have gone through a lot at that time. I'm 100% sure of it. But again, I think destiny brought me close to all of you. And I must thank all of you.
See, Dad also being the man that he was a very committed man. He saw that there was something in the relationship, which when we grew older also we realized that, you know, these are, like my dad says, there are emotional accidents that happen.
Yeah.
Like, so he considered a scenario where, you know, when he met you, probably fell in love with you, and he could not even let it go. And how he held our family together and how he didn't let you go was a very challenging thing for him. I'm quite sure it must have been even very traumatic for him as well.
100%.
For you, for sure, being at that point in time considered as the other woman must have also been tough. But you also held on. You never left my father's side. And my mom also, maybe initially it would have been tough on her.
Of course.
But she could also see that, you know, nothing is really being taken away from her side as such. Like, he is still responsible to her, to the children. He's not abandoned anybody. He's not disowned them. And at the same time, he could maintain a relation with you. And slowly, the acceptability came. But I'm quite sure that efforts must have happened from everybody's side. You also would have done your effort. Mom surely would have done an effort. And Dad, being the pillar, would have tried to keep everything going. If you were to say that when things started getting better, when would be that time when that transition happened, when you started feeling that, okay, now Salma has also accepted me, I also, okay, Dad is also like open about the fact that no, I can move out with my two wives. When was that? No particular date, but it took some time, right?
Of course, in the beginning it did. You know what
Yeah.
I used to do? When I used to pass bandstand, and I would know sometimes Mummy standing on the balcony, I would duck down, right down, that she wouldn't see me, and the car would be empty going past your house.
Right.
I used to
You've gone through
keep
that
her
time
respect
also.
so much.
And now the stage has come that when you don't turn up for any of the family functions or for normal lunches, the first phone that comes to you is from my mom saying, Helen, where are you? Why haven't you come? Isn't it beautiful?
I rang her up yesterday only. I said, Salma, I haven't come for 2 days. I'm shooting with your son tomorrow, so I won't be coming tomorrow too.
Yeah. And he was honest. I think when things happened with you also, we were very young, but he sat us down and he told us that, this is where it is. I don't expect you probably at that point in time to love her as much as you love your mother, but you must give her equal respect.
Wonderful.
Which is so beautiful. And that's how it is. So, Helen Auntie, let me first give you a hug.
Oh my, then you have to help me up.
No, you sit. So,
Thank you so much. One thing I must remind you, son, is Alvira was getting married.
Right.
And you all had a wedding invitation card printed. And in that card, he said, Salim Khan, Salma Khan, Helen Khan, and children invite you.
So beautiful.
And he took it to Dharminder Ji.
Right.
And Dharminder Ji was shocked to see that, कि मेरा नाम भी add किया है.
Right. Yeah.
I can't forget
beautiful.
that.
I think
Your father, sorry to interrupt, your father is a wonderful, great, wise. I don't have the superlative to say
I guess,
what a wonderful man he is.
Truly appreciate.
You're very lucky to have a father, and I'm very lucky to have him in my life.
Absolutely. If anybody wants to even come close to achieving what you achieved, what would you advise them?
I was very dedicated to my work. I loved my work, whatever I was doing. Every song, when I would go on the set, I would enjoy it. I would forget there are 100 people in the audience or in the studio. And I would get into the song. I was very dedicated, as I said. Punctuality. And you got to love what you've done, what you are doing. You mustn't get bored. If you get bored, that means you're giving up. And it's not going to happen good for you. It is very hard, especially now. There are thousands of aspirants coming into who want to become something. And it is very heartbreaking to know that so many come and they wait and they wait and they wait and they can't. I would request and implore them to always have a fallback. If you can't make it, give yourself time. If you can't make it within this time, you should be ready and accept.
And move on.
That you can't get it and fall back to what you have. Right. So you must have a degree in your hand, you must be educated. Nowadays, education is very, very, very important.
So once you make it also, it is not something that is a given. Then comes the professionalism, the hard work, which you did.
Dedication in that sense. I used to do my yoga, as you know. I used to get up at 5:30, do my yoga, then get ready for my makeup. And if I had a 9:30 shift, my hairdresser would come at 7 and we would leave at 8:30, 8:45 to be on the set. I must tell you an incident about time, if it's okay with you.
Yeah, sure.
I was working for Dilip Saab, Mr. Dilip Kumar, Yusuf Saab as we know him, for Ganga Jamna.
Right.
And he came up to me and he said, Helen, we'll do a 7 o'clock shift tomorrow. I said, it's fine, I'll be ready. So by 6:30, I reached the studio all ready, and 7 o'clock, Mehboob Studios. At 7 o'clock, I came and I sat down on the set. And he came at 7:15. And he was very sorry. I'm so sorry, Helen. I said 7 o'clock, I should have been here before 7. So punctuality is, you must respect
time.
What you are doing, and with your respect comes punctuality.
So true.
You must be punctual, you must be hard-working, and another thing is...
Love what you do, which you said.
That I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
You should be passionate about what you do, love what you do, and be dedicated and focused. So these are the mantras for the success, the Helen, the legend that she is. Wow.
And
anything else you would like to sum up this interview with? There's something that you would like to say to just generally to the audience, or just like you felt you want to Any?
I have to thank your family for taking me into your fold and making me a Khan.
Of course.
This is,
We love you.
This is on my knees I tell you, I thank you very much.
Helen Auntie, don't do that. Thank you. We cannot go further. I think we're going to end it right here now. Love you. Thank you so much. It was such a beautiful interview. A conversation which was so honest and real, and it was pleasure having you.
And thank you, Arbaaz. You made it so easy for me. I get very nervous when I have to work.
I know. I think just before the interview yesterday.
I was wondering whether I can walk out, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But then I said, I'm going to make my Arbaaz feel so bad about it. No way.
Yeah.
I said a prayer and I said, I'm going to do it. And see how beautiful.
Yeah.
I feel so good about it.
Wow, thank you. So we can end this interview on this very happy note.
Yes.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arbaaz, for thinking of getting me into this wonderful show of yours.
Thank you.